Good morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to this week's Weekly Energy Boost. My name is Elisheva, and I'm here with Eitan, and today's topic is working as one. This is not only a great topic for this week and this month, but also the time in history that we're in, the way that the business world works, and of course, even in our own personal lives, when to fly solo, when to work as a team. How do we navigate those team relationships, and why do we even need anybody else in the bigger picture is always a question that comes up when we talk about these ideas. So this week is really giving us the opportunity to rethink and refocus our energy in the groups that we identify as a part of, as well as in the solo work that we're doing. How do we do that work both alone and with others, with more consciousness, more intention, and really to make the most out of the opportunities that the universe is giving us in these relationships. Weekly Energy Boost is a 7-day spiritual weather forecast in which we provide our listeners with the most practical and powerful tools to navigate the coming 7 days. We do that by focusing on the teachings and the wisdom of Kabbalah, sharing with our listeners every week the teachings and tools that can help you not only make the most out of the opportunities of this week, but really to take this wisdom and tools and apply it in any week of the year, any year of your life. And so as we are now on the second half of the month of Pisces, and we're taking advantage of the heightened sensitivity, empathy, even intuition, we want to better understand how the guidance that we're receiving can help us maximize the potential of our relationships, our business relationships, our family relationships, and really identify what it means to have oneness, togetherness, and unity with the other people in our lives. So Eitan, I know that you have a very excited and passionate about this subject. It's something that we get to talk about a lot at the Kabbalah Centre. What do we want to share with our listeners today?
Yes, so we really need to unpack the concept of togetherness, of unity, because it sound like amazing slogans. Be unified. Let's work all together.
We are one.
We are one. We are one unified soul, which indeed the basic Kabbalistic principle is we came to this physical world to emulate the spiritual realm. In the spiritual realm, all the angels working together with unity, but at the same time expressing their unique light, unique energy, unique contribution. So in the upper world, the soul, the angels, or our perfected souls, the future that we all will be is already existing. Unity really means working together without losing our individuality, but in this world it looks like a contradiction. So what does it mean practically in this world to work as a one unified all without losing your individuality? So we'll speak about different topic. I'll start one ways, talking to different entrepreneurs and true leaders. So one particular one that I think at the gift of creating unity, and I think that was also one of the gift of Karen Berg in forming the Kabbalah Centre today, is knowing that while all of us have meant to work together, the only way together will be if everybody is able to contribute their unique gift and they have clarity what are they good at without ego about it, and what someone else is good at and they're not so good at. Because every true team, like marriage, like family, like company, like spiritual group, like real friends, if you're really honest without ego, You see the contribution of everybody, the unique contribution of everybody. And as a leader of any team, you would like to see clearly about yourself, even what I'm good at and what I'm not so good at. And we need other team member to compensate it. Instead of judging us if I'm doing more, he's doing less, I'm doing less, he's doing more, I'm insecure. Instead of looking at ourselves as comparing ourselves as a all, no. Each one of us, as Karen Berg used to say, it's an ingredient of an amazing soup. And if you want real impact in this world, it has to be part of a team group. One of the reason we believe in the Kabbalah Center that in order to be effective and in order to make sure that we're not coming from a place of ego, we need to work as a team, because it looks like it's much easier to work by myself, to make decisions by myself. But if you want to be really effective and to truly channel the light of the Creator, you need to imitate the upper world, the energy of oneness. Now, the next thing we'll get into, some of the tests all of us have. And how do you navigate between individuality and unity? So would you like to start, Elisheva?
Well, I think for a lot of us, the quest for unity appears to require some sort of denial or rejection of what makes me different, right? In order for us to be one, we have to think the same, we have to believe the same, we have to act the same. And Kabbalah teaches, right, as you said, I need to come together with other people without losing my own unique individuality, right? What am I good at? What am I not good at? And bringing what I can to the table, not pretending I'm something that I'm not, but also I think the key word when it comes to oneness is circuitry. For me, it's about learning to receive, to give, of course. You're coming together to contribute towards something, even in your family, right? That we're all good at different things and we want to add value and share with the people that we care about. But, I always used to joke that when I met my husband and he's so good with technology and Excel files and I thought, you know what, I'm going to learn from him. I'm going to be really good at Excel files and things like that too. And I can't. And in the beginning, I felt really bad. Like, why don't I get it? Why it looks so simple on the screen, but my brain doesn't work that way. And once I learned to love the fact that my brain doesn't work that way, it works in other ways. And it's really great at other kinds of thinking and creativity. It was easier for me to accept my shortcoming and also to be more, not proud, but more secure, have more strength in the areas that I am uniquely gifted. So I think that part of that perception of, right, I'm here to contribute, I'm also here to receive. And the Kabbalists talk a lot about the opportunity to grow in being able to learn from the people around you, right? That, like you said, working on your own is easier, right? Easier in terms of there's no friction, there's no conflict, there's no opposition. I don't have to apologize to anybody. Nobody else but me gets to be right. And missing out on the opportunity for circuitry is actually what takes us away from being able to work on a unified goal with others. If I don't also create the space to receive from other people, to learn from them, to take in their feedback, to not even for them to teach me, but just for me to be able to learn by other people's example. We used to work prior to the pandemic, we used to work in a really big room with lots of different desks. And one of my favorite things about going to work every day was being able to listen to my fellow teachers, my colleagues teaching. Like if I could find 5-10 minutes to be quiet and tap into somebody else's class or session that they were giving, every day I left with so much awe, realizing like, wow, I never thought about it, or I've heard that teaching before, but I never realized you could apply it in this way. It was such a being in that collaborative space, and maybe that's a word. The real goal, why the one unified soul that was originally created, one of the reasons it became fragmented into all the souls of humanity, is so that we could come back together. And whenever we're given the opportunity to collaborate, to contribute towards something bigger, right? To put my little piece of the puzzle into the puzzle, I'm actually fulfilling an even greater part of my purpose, which is to go back to that oneness. We're in this fragmented, separated, illusionary reality so that we can transcend it, so that we can find what unifies us, find what connects us, and use those connections to our strength. So part of what I love about this environment and what's so inspiring for me is that we don't all have to be perfect at everything. We have to be great at what we are great
Big
at.
part of unity, knowing that, absolutely.
And how exciting and inspiring it is every day to come into a group and to learn new things and to see things in a different way. It's such a powerful thing. And I feel like when we isolate, once in a while, let's say you need to travel, to go and give a lecture or whatever, and maybe you're not you don't interact with as many people as you do when you're in your normal routine. That's missing. I miss the opportunity in those days where I'm by myself more. I'm less surrounded by colleagues to learn from, because I miss not only the feedback loop, but also the inspiration that I get from hearing them all day, or even if it's for 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. It's such a important part for me of the process, because I know I'm not here personally to do it on my own. That's a tremendous responsibility. I want to combine my efforts and connect them not only to my colleagues, who I think are phenomenal, but also to all of those who came before us, that we're not building it by ourselves, but we're kind of like frosting the cake. The cake was already baked and we need to finish the job. So that for me is always a big focus, or that my North Star is that together we can do anything, but on our own, then we need to kind of question, really, I'm going to do this all by myself? So for me, it's a really important element to the work that we do.
Beautiful. I would like to challenge everyone and all of us to look at our life and to see, very often we're staying in a team, we're staying in a group, we're even staying in a marriage because let's coexist and let's keep peace around. It's good for the kids, it's good for the company, it's good for the situation without argument. But we don't really look at 1 + 1. It's actually not 2, it's 11. It's infinite, it's exponential. So if you're just settling for less, why not? Why not to fight? Let's try, then you suppress the judgment and the feeling. We'll keep it together. That's fake unity. What areas in your life you need to upgrade to real unity? And let me share more tools. Like you said, with your husband, I can tell you with my wife, I think I'm more fast fixer, and she's much more heart and compassion and present. While I would love to get a piece of that, and she would love to get a piece of mine, but if we're really happy for the way the other person shines, that happiness and that unity creating exponential energy. So, I'll tell you something that Rav Ashlag speaks in the book Wisdom of Truth. Profound principles around unity, saying, in one hand, very often, the truth is concealed within the least popular voice, But at the same time, you need eventually, when you make a decision, to follow majority, which is totally opposite. So what does it mean practically? There's a group of 6 people, and you have a little opinion which is contradicting the 6, and even the boss, and even the leader, or even the one who consider. It's important that healthy environment will allow that opinion to be heard. Doesn't mean it's the right opinion. It's the process of sharing opinions. Maybe the boss eventually or the leader will decide eventually what, but the process of allowing individuals to share their point of view doesn't mean it's right, doesn't mean it's wrong. The interaction, the discussion, the disagreement in the process, it's very important for true unity and for true decision to be decided. So here is a contradiction. In one end, yes, when a decision is made, everybody needs to support it without suppressing the feeling and knowing, you know what, that's what the Creator wants, that's what the light wants. But in the process of making decisions, don't run away for not being popular. Make sure to share it not from a victim, not from judgment, not from anger, not from lack. That's in any given situation, in any true team in life. Actually, Rav Ashlag saying, when a couple is arguing, behind it, there's potential growth that is about to come. Running away from disagreement, I'm not saying arguing with anger and negativity. Running away from disagreement, it's running away from growth. Because disagreement is welcoming the individual's opinion that sometimes are not the most popular to be had as part of the process of making decision. But then we'll follow the leader or will follow the majority or whatever the decision to be made.
So this is really difficult, because if we're honest with ourselves, in a collaborative space, let's say in this team of 6 people that are coming together for a project or toward a goal, I want to say it's almost impossible to avoid ego conflict, right? There's often, the more people in the group, the more egos in the room. So
Absolutely.
how do we be mindful of my desire to be right or to be acknowledged or to be recognized versus I genuinely believe this is the right way, or I'm passionate about this process? How do we distinguish between what truly will help versus what my ego wants to get done?
So in a teamwork, one of the typical ego that will be manifested in a teamwork as energy and as thoughts, and then will create a breakdown of the team, is judgment and speaking behind the back of others. Major. I've seen companies that everyone listened to the leader. He actually, that particular situation, it didn't create enough space for honest opinions. So people suppressed their feeling. They were afraid. They were afraid to go against the energy and against whatever felt powerful and stream, because they're going to lose their job. So they maintained judgment and they spoke behind the back. So the judgment and speaking behind the back actually are expression of the ego, because the ego is energy of isolation and separation. That's how ego is fed. Ego is fed by isolation. They're bad, I'm good. I'm bad, they're good. Whatever it is, self-judgment is also ego, because it's isolating myself from capable to be part of a team or part of something good. So, leader, or each one of the team, needs to find, that's part of the spiritual work. How do I release judgment? And how do I make sure that I'm not speaking behind the bad, which is isolation and judgment? And how do I express? And what if I cannot express my opinion? So what am I doing with my energy that I'm not agreeing? And that's what Rav Ashlag tells us, something very powerful. He's saying, more spiritual the group is, the teams, let's say, of friends that wants to grow spiritually and they want to grow as a team, more internal disagreements they're going to have. Everybody at time will think, I see things better. It has to be my way. And then he's saying, for any healthy environment, you need to have mutual compromises. Mutual compromises. And every time you compromise, you know what? This time it will be your opinion. And it didn't go my way. Don't judge it. Tell yourself, it's opportunity for me to get closer to the energy of one. Because the ego is energy I know. And when you compromise, not from suppressing and not from pleasing and not because you're afraid and not because you're like, as part of the process of coming together, that's a tool. Now, if you're all the time compromising, if you're all the time letting everybody else and actually you're afraid to voice your opinion, that's another issue. It's a lack of courage that you need to work with and maybe share with one person to help you to have the courage to be.
Is there ever a time where you should do something on your own and not with the group? Is there any part of the spiritual work that's meant to be done alone versus surrounded by others?
Listen, that's a very good question. And ultimately, anything with long-term success has to be in unity. It doesn't have to be, this is your company. Maybe you need to make a decision that you need to move to a different company or a different team and sometimes a different marriage. But have you tried everything? Is it a cop-out? Is it are you running away from something? Are you really facing your tikkun? Are you really facing the slow process of togetherness? So there's a lot of question. There's a lot of question. But for long-term success in any field in life, is to be friends, spiritual group, marriage. All of us would love to be on the fence in certain areas in our life that we have tikkun. I'm there, but I'm not all the way. Sometimes we are committed on paper all the way, but we're not committed with heart all the way. So each one of us needs to look, what is the areas I want to go to the next level, to make it 11 and not 1 + 1 is 2.
Yeah, I think this is a great week for that, specifically that work. Looking at the areas, the opportunities in my life that I have the opportunity to get closer with another individual or another group and to really check myself. What's my part in the lack of unity or the lack of togetherness? If it's my respect issues or my acknowledgement or maybe it's even my insecurity. I'm waiting for somebody to tell me I'm great because I don't believe I am. And really looking at how we can put aside those ego issues, right? Because even lack of ego is an ego issue. Lack of pride, lack of self-respect is an ego issue. To really put aside those things and to seek the opportunities for growth, to ask for feedback from the people that you work with or people in your family. It's really, I think, especially in this month of Pisces, when people are just inclined to be a little bit more sensitive, a little bit more empathetic, a little bit more in tune, it's an opportunity to get that feedback, to create that loop, that circuitry between us and the other people in our lives for the sake of growth, adding value, greater contribution, and expansion. Anything else we forgot? Last final words?
Yeah, the last thing I'll speak about is actually connecting to the lessons of the Torah. The Creator told Moses, I know you want everyone to be part of building the tabernacle, but actually real unity is not always everyone. It's the right people. and you have to say goodbye to certain people. So actually, sometimes part of building a true culture is not letting the people who don't belong to the culture to be part of it, because everybody will be drained. And that's a painful process, but that's paradoxically, it's part of true unity.
I know so many people who need that lesson, who have experienced that lesson recently, and understanding that if you really care about the other person, it actually might mean letting them go, or giving them the space to find something else to do, rather than trying to squeeze them in to the picture that doesn't really serve them and isn't really serving the group anymore. So it's so true. Weekly Energy Boost is available on all podcast platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. You can follow us on those platforms to receive more content to support you to do the work we talk about every week. You can visit us at weeklyenergyboost.com to send us a message, ask us a question, search our archives, and click the donate button to continue to help make Weekly Energy Boost possible. But as always, the best help you can offer us is to share this episode with anyone that you know who needs the reminder of why we're here and how our purpose together is so much more powerful than our purpose as individuals. And we'll see you next week on the Weekly Energy Boost.